Have some disturbing news to report today. So, guys, in a past video, I had talked about a tweet that had referenced a disinformation governance board. And I had said that I hope this is not real, this is not legitimate, because the words disinformation and misinformation in particularly are being used as a way to silence people, as a way to limit people's freedom of speech. And the worst part of it all is citizens don't even realize it's happening. So guys, I keep saying it, I cannot stress it enough. Whenever the words disinformation or misinformation are being used, it is an attempt to limit somebody's free speech. That's the only way these words are being used. They are horrible words, the worst words in the English dictionary. And I saw a tweet about Joe Biden setting up a disinformation board. And what do we have here on Wikipedia? Disinformation Governance Board. The Disinformation Governance Board, DGB, is a United States Department of Homeland Security, DHS board, announced a little less than a week ago. Now, guys, I saw this coming. I projected that they were going to use the words disinformation and misinformation as gateway words, as enabling words to limit people's free speech. And they create this board April 27th. I had said they were going to do something like this before April 27th, which was just last week. So this is brand new. And this is just yet another way they're trying to silence the First Amendment. The First Amendment and the Second Amendment are trying to be restricted from the American citizens right now through different means. With the Second Amendment, it's all about playing on emotions, playing on school shootings. The only time they try and argue about taking the guns away or, enforcing stricter gun laws is when there's a school shooting, is when people die. We saw about the recent shooting that happened, the subway shooting. There were no deaths, and it was an African American that committed the crime, so they don't want to talk about it anymore. But when it's a white person shooting up a school and kids die, they want to play to your emotions and do that. And when it comes to the First Amendment and freedom of speech, we already know they don't believe in the freedom of speech. Just look at many of these people's views of Twitter. And, you had the early Republicans say, this is ridiculous. I can't believe Twitter doesn't agree with freedom of speech. And the liberals would say, oh, they're a private company. They don't have to. And that's why they're so pissed, and they're throwing temper tantrums that Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter and instill the First Amendment, because the reality of the situation is liberals have had an absurd advantage on Twitter, on Facebook, on these platforms, due to the platforms being ridiculously biased. And you think about the actual employees of these platforms being mainly left-wing. There was a recent report done by Vox that 99% of the money that the employees at Twitter donated went to Democratic candidates during the 2018 midterm elections. So the people that are deciding who should be banned and what speech should be silenced are ridiculously biased towards one political party. Taking a look at this horrible disinformation board. It was announced April 27th during a 2023 budget hearing before the United States House Appropriations Subcommittee of Homeland Security. Its focus is combating disinformation by human smugglers that encourages surges of migrants to the United States-Mexico border, as well as election interference by nations, including Russia. So that part about what it's doing, that's all bullshit. What it's doing is they're trying to pick and choose what speech should be silenced. The best example of this is what happened to the Hunter Biden story with the October surprise in the 2020 election. The 2020 election is coming up. The Republicans pull out an October surprise on Hunter Biden. It's a major story, and all the main social media platforms silenced the story, but they didn't silence the story because it was false. They didn't know if it was true or false. They silenced the story and used the enabling word that it was disinformation as a way to make sure that story didn't get out and impact the election and potentially re-elect Trump. Twitter, remember guys, the Silicon Valley told Twitter, you're part of the reason Trump was elected in 2016. So Twitter becomes this alt-left social media platform almost. They're not, it's not completely alt-left. It's not like Reddit. I mean, Reddit is crazy. But Twitter becomes more left-leaning after 2016 because they get guilt-tripped by Silicon Valley, where Silicon Valley's like, oh, you enabled Trump to get elected in 2016. You let this happen. You need to do a better job of controlling your people and controlling the people on that platform. And the words disinformation and misinformation enable certain people in power, like people on this governance board, to silence anyone they want, and they can just say, oh, it's disinformation, it's misinformation. The Hunter Biden story is misinformation. Was it really misinformation? We don't know, but we want that story silenced. So to silence that story, we will use the enabling word, it's disinformation, it's misinformation, it is speech that's danger to the American people, which is such a ridiculous statement. All this speech that's dangerous to the American people. No, that's freedom of speech. That's the First Amendment. People are going to say what they're going to say. And I've never been a big proponent of letting people say whatever. Listen, if you make threats at people, there's consequences, just like, when it comes to the First Amendment. But this idea that we're just going to allow the government to govern what is misinformation, what is disinformation. They're able to label whatever they want, something that is false. It is absolutely horrific. And you can see this, the DHS Disinformation Governance Board right here. They've got the Homeland Security seal, formed in 2022, headquarters DHS, Nebraska Avenue Complex, Washington, D.C., Unbelievable, folks. Absolutely unbelievable. How something like this happens, you would think the Senate or the House or someone would stop this. This should not be able to go through. You should not be able to create something like this. And then, of course, they use the gauge. Oh, we're just trying to help. Yes, of course. Because obviously you're not going to say in the actual description of this board, yeah, we're going to go and silence speech that we don't like. You're not going to say that. You're going to say, we're trying to curate things and make things better for the American people. This is so ridiculous, folks. It is so absolutely pathetic, and when I saw that, my heart sank. It really did, with what's going on. And unfortunately, a lot of it is just the lack of information that many young people are receiving. I will give, liberals and Democrats credit for diagnosing how to actually incorporate young people into politics, and it's through college campuses. It's through the use of social media. One of the things I always, reference that Vox graph where 99% of the Twitter employees donated to Democratic candidates, 1% or whatever donated to Republican candidates. The one thing I would love to see a poll on, if you polled every single Ivy League professor and you gave them one question. You said, what is your political affiliation? Democrat, Republican, independent, or not involved in politics, whatever. Give them as many options as they want. I would guess 85 to 90% would be Democrats and would be proud Democrats, and some of them are actually alt-left. Out of Ivy, you could do it with Ivy League professors, you could do it with Big Ten school professors, you could do it with Pac-12 school professors, Big 12 school professors, even with Texas, because we know how liberal Austin is, and many of the big college campuses in Texas are crazy liberal, like in Houston, things like that. It's crazy how we see with college campuses when it comes to the professors, and listen, I would love it if politics was not brought up at all when it comes to these professors, but we know that's not the case. And it's not like it should matter, but it does matter. It's like this idea to where the United States is basically split 50-50 Republican, Democrat. Obviously, it's really like 43-43, 13% independent. It's something like, it's near 50-50. But there's not an accurate representation of 50% Republican, 50% Democrat professors. It's absurdly one-sided. And there's a specific reason it's one-sided. It is to indoctrinate young 17, 18-year-old kids to be more liberal. And I don't even want it to be political. I don't want education to be political. But we know it is, and we know these college campuses are ridiculously liberal, and then also the use of social media. Many of these liberal people have realized, with the young people especially, you go around to any 16, 17-year-old girl, odds 90% chance they have a Twitter account, they have an Instagram account, and they have complete control over those platforms. Once again, that's why they're throwing a hissy fit about Elon Musk possibly bringing free speech to Twitter, because it's been this kind of unspoken law that liberals are just going to have control over social media, and people, unfortunately, are so ignorant they didn't see it was a big issue. That's why I've already said, no matter what happens with Elon Musk, whether he's able to actually go through with it and by Twitter and instill the First Amendment into it, it's already been exposed. People are finally starting to realize that, hey, they really don't want freedom of speech on Twitter. Like, that's how ridiculous it is. They do not want freedom of speech on Twitter because they were enjoying a ridiculous political advantage, being able to ban and being able to shadow ban whoever they wanted. And again, if you're talking about the people that are banning, people on Twitter, accounts on Twitter, 99% of the money the employees are donating are going to Democratic candidates. There's probably going to be some bias with these people and who they're choosing to ban and not ban. If you're donating 99%, so 99% to liberal candidates and 1% to Republican candidates. So that's another example. The two main examples to where it's not even close to representative of how the actual American people think, which is much more 50-50 than 99% liberal on Twitter and with the Twitter employees, then 95% liberal with the college professors. I don't know these statistics. I would love to see a poll done on every major college campus. How many of your professors are liberal, conservative, whatever? I wish this wasn't an issue, but obviously it is, because these kids, all these campuses are alt-left cesspools. And they're very nice campuses, absolutely. But that's just the reality of the situation. So guys, I just wanted to talk about this overall disinformation board and just how ridiculous it is. And it is sad to see something like this coded words. I literally came out with several videos talking about how bad the words disinformation and misinformation are. And then about a week ago, they come out and they create an official governance board using the word disinformation. Horrible. Horrible. And I caught them before they even did it, because I saw that they were exactly going to do this. They were going to use the words disinformation and misinformation as excuse words, as gateway words to be able to ban whoever they want, because they can just say whatever they want is disinformation. If I don't like what you're saying, I can just say it's disinformation and ban you. I can just say it's misinformation and ban you, and that's what they're going to do. And they create this, and nobody pushes back against it because everyone's ignorant. Nobody even knows that these words are so horrible and so heinous and so anti-First Amendment. People don't even realize it. They don't even realize it. It's demoralizing. It really is demoralizing. But once again, this is something, it seems like it's going to be an issue for so long. People have to understand, whenever someone uses these words, it is meant to limit somebody else's freedom of speech. The word misinformation, disinformation and misinformation, 99% of the time when someone is using it, they are trying to limit another person's free speech. It's horrible. It's sad. And then they went and actually created a freaking government board with the word disinformation in it. These people are just evil, man. They're just straight up evil. They are evil. I saw it coming. I knew this was their new way with what's happening with Elon Musk. Elon Musk says, you know what? We're going to have free speech on Twitter because Twitter is a Twitter has a major effect on general elections, on politics in America. And I think it's healthy that Twitter reflects a good freedom of speech politically. And they kick and scream and they throw a fit because they had such a huge advantage on Twitter, but at least people are starting to realize and understand, oh wait, no, you didn't want free speech. You don't like free speech. You like free speech when it's with your party. But when someone is saying something you don't like and might influence young people, you want to ban them. You don't get to have it both ways. That is not how America works. If you want something like that, China, Shanghai, the countryside this time of year in China, it's beautiful. Go live there. That's not how it works in America. We don't silence people because we don't agree with their political opinions. You want something like that? You want to work for the greater good of the government? You want a communist party? Great countryside right now in China this time of year. It's beautiful. Shanghai is amazing. Go live there. That's not how things work in America. I'm sorry to put it so bluntly, but I am just so sick of this crap. And how do people not see the word disinformation governance board and just be like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Do we want to give our rights away? Do we want to? That's what it is. Wake up. Hello. Hello. Hi. Disinformation. It's a gateway word. They're using it to ban people they don't agree with. It's a restriction of the First Amendment. And people don't say anything. I don't understand it. They're ignorant. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.